What's going on, everybody? Brushable here. Today I'm going to be showing you how I did these desert bases on my Necrons. My Necrons have been sitting around for a couple months. It's part of the first pack I bought, and I hadn't finished the bases yet. Wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, so did some experimenting with the new texture paint and the new pigments I got, and I was pretty stoked on how these bases came out. So today I'll be showing you on this guy here exactly what I did to pull it off. So stick around to the end of the video and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so the first thing we want to get started with is this Vallejo earth texture. This tub is quite cheap and it comes with a bunch of it. Really any Citadel texture paint should work. But basically we want to just apply this all around the base, spread it out nice and evenly, leaving it a little thick just so you can add some different textures and make it look like a sand dune. So being careful not to get too much on the feet and make it more look like the feet are sitting in sand versus sand piled up too much around them. I'm using a super cheap brush here. You don't want to use any nice brushes on this, it'll ruin your brushes. Just go all the way around the base there. I like to pile it up a little bit more around these little rocks. Alright, and then just go and make sure the texture is how you want it and not looking too smooth or funky from brush strokes. Alright, and then what I like to do, take this off here, and then I just like to give it a nice clean edge around the base. Just using my finger so it's easier when you come back at the end and paint that edge. So, let me clean off my brush, and I'm going to give this about 35 minutes for this to dry, and then we'll come back and we'll start on some paint. Alright, now that everything's all dried up, should be looking at something like this. So next we're going to be coming in. I just used this cheap acrylic brown. It's pretty close to Mournfang brown. I just try to save when I can on my Citadel paints, because that can be expensive, and on something like a base, especially something that's going to get dry brushed over and then pigments over, just choose to use this. So I'm just working straight out of there. I got some water on my brush to thin it out a little bit, but I'm going to go all the way around everything I just covered, and then I'm even going to hit the rocks and stuff that came with the base here. So stuff like this here. Trying to be careful not to catch any parts of the miniature. And try to not get that weapon. All right, so now I'm gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna come in with the dry brush with the Morgas bone. All right, now that that's all dry, I'm gonna be coming in with the Morgas bone for a dry brush. Now with this, I use my older dry brush. It's pretty frayed. Get some of this out here. Let's wipe most of it off. We're gonna come in here and just give everything a nice, easy dry brush. All right, and that's how it should be looking after that. Got all the nice contrast, nice textures and everything. Now you could go in with a wash at this point. I think if you can see here on this one, I like a little bit of that dry brush coming through. I think it adds quite a bit of contrast to it. So I don't, but you can if you'd like to. All right, so now at this point we are ready for the main event using these pigments. Pigments I'm using are Vallejo. This is brown iron oxide. It's going to be this first one up here, the darker one, and then old rust is going to be the slightly lighter one. I started using this little dry palette here. Makes my life a lot easier. I definitely tossed some pigment everywhere and got it all over my hoodie and my pants and my Secret Labs chair and all over the place. So coming in here with that same old dry brush, I'm just picking some up, placing it around. You don't need too much. You just want to scoop it up, get it all up in there, and then we're going to be getting the spreading out this lighter pigment as well. And then we're going to be just kind of blending them together on the miniature here. All right, once you have it nice and spread out like that, so we put this away, and we are going to come in with Pigment Fixer. Now with this, I like to take them out of the little stand thing with a little holder. And this stuff spreads pretty quick. I know a couple times I used a little too much, just trying to figure it out. You can see there, once you put a couple drops there, it does spread out pretty quickly. See if it starts to spread into this foot here. We just add a little more. All right, and that is all you need of that. That even might have been just a little too much also. But we'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and we'll just add a little black on the base and we'll be done. All right, so now that that's all dry, you You can see you got that nice pigments in there fixed. You got those nice color changes. Now all that's left to do is to do the edge of the base. Come in here once again with my cheap black acrylic and an old brush. I'm just going to come and do 2 layers. Alright, now I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'm going to do another layer. Alright, now that both layers of the black have dried, that's the finished base. Same recipe I followed for all these guys over here too. Working with pigments are a lot of fun, especially when you throw it all over yourself and all over your desk. So definitely try and be careful when you're using them. But they are not that scary. It's quite easy to use. I'm able to pull this off, and I'm not exactly the best painter in the world. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Hopefully it gives you some good ideas. Please like, comment, subscribe. The channel is very, very new, so any support in this time definitely helps. Thank you very much. See you next time.